Rightio. Oh, I'm getting a cold. You'll have to excuse the voice. I have had an epic fail. I'd done some strawberries and I'd used ball jars. Not that there's anything wrong with ball jars, but they siphoned and the pips had lodged themselves between the seal, between the rim of the jar and the seal. So overnight, most of them popped open. They were sealed, but then they popped open. And because they'd siphoned so much, they had to be frozen. So I ended up with a fair amount of frozen strawberries, and they've been in the freezer for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. Probably 6 months too long. But anyway, I'm not throwing them out. I'm going to turn them into jam. So I will defrost these in a moment and pop them into my trusty non-stick pot, which is looking a little bit dismal. Probably needs, no, it's got a few scratches, but that doesn't matter. It still works fine. And then I'm going to process them in my steam canner. So I'll also use the steam canner to heat up the jars. So anyway, I'll be back shortly. Okay, partially defrosted, and there we go. It was a pain getting them out of there. Old hands don't work so well anymore. Anyway, if it's not too much, I can probably fit 7 jars in the 7 pint jars into the steam canner. If I end up with more, then I'll have to water bath them. Actually, I think I probably will water bath them. So we may just use the steam canner next time. Rightio. Talk to you soon. Okay, I've got the jars in the water bath, and a little tip: before you lower your jars into the water bath, because they're just going to float because there's water around them and no water in them. So while you've got the basket up, fill up the jars with water and then lower them. Anyway, I've got probably way too many jars here, but maybe not. So if I use them, that's fine, and if I don't, well, that doesn't matter. It's always better to have a few extra jars on hand. Okay, I've got my strawberries still defrosting in the pot, and I'll be adding a bit more sugar and a little bit of vanilla, which I think will make it taste really yum. Not too much sugar because I don't like super sweet jam. Rightio, let's see how this goes. Talk to you later. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit creative today, so I have dried rhubarb, and I've decided I'm going to add it to my strawberries. So I think this is going to be an interesting canning episode. Rightio. Another little tip: your jars need to be covered by at least an inch and a half of water, even 2 inches. I usually cover them by about 2 inches. Rightio. I've added the tiniest little dot of butter to stop the foaming, and that's okay. I really don't know how much sugar's in there because I had canned the strawberries and soaked the sugar. Didn't can the strawberries. Yes, I did can the strawberries, and I had soaked them previously with sugar overnight and ended up with lovely syrup, which was just naturally from the strawberries and sugar. So I have added on top of this amount probably 3-4 cups of sugar. So anyway, I'll have a taste of it later and see what it's like. And I'm just going to be interested to see how this dehydrated rhubarb goes. I grow it in the garden, and it's been in the cupboard for a little while. So I thought, well, we better use it up. Okay, talk to you later. Okay, the dried, dehydrated rhubarb has cooked away. It took a while. And I decided I'd go outside and pick the last little bit of rhubarb that's out there. There wasn't much. And I'll chuck that in there as well. So now I've got to wait for the fresh rhubarb to cook down. And then I will start to fill my jars. Talk to you later. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see this, but that is kind of what's considered a rolling boil, where it's boiling but not really going nuts and spluttering all over the place. So I'll do another little bit later. This is just the jars heating up at the moment, and I shall film it again when they're full. Right, what's my jam doing? Yeah, it's looking good. It shouldn't be long. I've just got to wait for the fruit to cook down a bit. And you can see there's no foaming because I put the tiny bit of butter in there. So there's another tip for you. Right, hang on. Put the lid on. Whoop, try not to drop it on the floor. There we go.